Okay, this is going to be sort of a strange intersection between the most beautiful river in the world and our gut bacteria and your health. I know it doesn't sound like it could fit together, but it does. Good morning, my mud fossil friends. I have a special treat for you today. Check out these colors in the Rainbow River in Colombia, the most beautiful river in the world, and I'm going to show you something else that's beautiful. See that? Look at all the colors there. Isn't that beautiful? You know what that is? That's an X-ray fluoroscope of a lung. And these colors represent the colors of the bacteria and the enzymes and the transition metals that are in this. This is pretty new research. This was sent to me outside of traditional ways, you know, so it's not something that's being, it's just brand new. Let me put it this way. So there's a lot of guessing here, and nobody really understands this, but they're starting to look at the transition metals and the interactivity of the enzymes, the bacteria, and the membrane-bound bacteria. And what does that do? The bacteria in your body is good for you, you know. There's some bad stuff, sure, it could hurt you, but it only gets bad if the good stuff gets killed. The good stuff lives here, and it tries to protect you by creating enzymes and products and all kinds of chemistry, slime, mucus, to keep everything out from coming into you to attack you. That's what they do. They are membrane-bound, mucosal, enzyme-producing bacteria. Mucus protects you. Slime is your life. That is your lifeline against the world. It's like your walls against the rest of the world, and they happen only on these membranes. That's where the slime is created. And every specific part of your body has a different type of chemistry. There's acids over here, there's salts over here, there's nothing over here, there's who knows what over there. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on in your body. You just have absolutely no clue whatsoever. Well, let me show you something real quick to give you a clue. Okay, I said I want to give you a clue how much chemistry is going on. That's the chemistry that's going on. That little thing there produces toxins that if it hit that, it would eat a hole right through it. And that's what's happening. There's pancreas, so it's got all kinds of activity and toxins and things going on. You got your liver doing all kinds of processing of toxins. That's what they do. So how do they do that? They have to keep them away from all the good stuff. Mucus, membranes, membrane-bound bacteria creates slime. That whole thing is coated with slime. You don't know it, but your body is just a slimy mess inside. I mean, I'm not kidding you. Well, you think about what's going on in your mouth and your throat and your lungs. You spit up things and you know what comes out of your butt. This is all things that have to be processed and dealt with, and you can't have them just walking around inside of your blood. You don't have membranes, you don't have mucus, you don't have enzymes, you are sick. And sick chronically. And then you get cancer, then you die in extreme pain. All right, this is an opalized heart. You saw all those different colors before, and you see some more. I'm going to show you some other events. All of those are transition metals. These colors are transition metals. They're metals that have a certain color, just like gold and silver and copper and all that. Now, these are molecules, however. Those other things are what's called element, and they're just basically a single type of an atom. These have a bunch of different atoms all globbed together, and they end up creating that color. Now, these are primarily independent little salts of metals, and they have this ability to go out and attach and detach to things, and that's why they're in your blood, because they're the carriers, they're the delivery agents, the UPS and the FedEx guys. They grab a hold of molecules and they say, where you got to go? I said, well, I'm some kind of mineral. I got to go down to the fingernails. And he said, okay, grab a hold of me. And they grab a hold with one electron. They get down to the fingernails, and the fingernail says, hey, I got 2 electrons. I'll take that guy. And he said, okay, give me one of those, and you can have that guy, and I'll go back and get some more. And now, if you don't have those transition metals, you're sick. Those transition metals are created and harvested by bacteria. Identical to what they do in the waste treatment plants. They throw bacteria in there. Say, go and clean up all the metals. And they do. That's what they do. That's their job. That's what happens in your body. And if you kill them with antibiotics, you're sick. All right, so here we go. Down the Rainbow River in Colombia, the world's most beautiful river. I cannot disagree. Now, I want to stop and show you why I can say about the membranes. And you shall see very soon. Now, all of these colors are the same colors we talked about, the enzymes, the bacteria. And I say they're membrane bound. So what we have to do is have a whole batch of layers for them to live in these membranes. And in the current, see, there they are. You see all these layers? Those layers are the layers right there. You see them? See all those layers? Inside of all those layers, these little bacteria are living. Now those layers go down a long ways, and in us they can't even see them because we're so small. These creatures were literally, it's just the average person cannot even get close to getting their head around how big these creatures were. Continent size, I'm not kidding you. And this is the membranes, and the holes in the membranes are where the bacteria live. And then everything came down through here, and this would have been just thick with goo, just slimed up to, I don't know, a couple of 100 feet high. I don't know. But the guys living in there would have made that goo, and all of that stuff that's now a river would have been poop. And it would have just been flowing over there and not being able to invade down deep into the tissue. And all of that bacteria that's still living in there. Look at all that. Whoops. Hold on. Okay, disregard that little. I'm not going back and cutting it out. See how thick these layers of membranes are. You see all these different colors. That's not accidental. That's not some toxic waste dump. This is water that is flowing over bacteria, and a bacteria has colors. Look at this. Look at the number of membranes. It's absolutely phenomenal, the number of layers that are in your membranes. And those are the same thing as we have in us, but you can't see them in us. They're just too thin. And I worked with an autopsy guy that is fabulous, and he's one of the top fascia guys. He understands this. And when he was doing an autopsy, I was watching it, he kept saying, oh, you think we're through the fascia? We think we're through the fascia. Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? And you get down to where it was so thin, you would have never even realized there was any thickness there. And I can tell you another thing, that particular thing that he got down to is additionally dense with layers that you just can't see. Okay, my friends, Roger once again. Today talking with my friend Andy, who is the bacteriologist who runs these labs. He has a university, teaches bacteriologists how to run these labs that they have. They have 25 labs currently running in food factory places, and they have to train them. And he was just down in Mexico training people down there to how to take care of their food service with 1 hour DNA processing. So anyway, it gets into bacteria, he's deep into that realm, and he understands they can create bacterial assays and all that stuff. Very, very technical. And he has that expertise. So we've been going back and forth. He sends me this today. Well, I sent him a couple of things. We're back and forth every day just about. So he sent me this today. Exploring the impact of gut bacteria on gut health. Now there's a independent group. Now this is what intrigues me. And they're talking about why do certain gastrointestinal bacteria cause disease in some people but not others. And I can answer that question quite seriously, I think. Now this just came out August 29th, I guess that's like today. What are the underlying mechanisms responsible for this? They have to understand that. Now they are working on this in Germany, and I'm going to try to get a hold of them and see if we can hook up together and do something, because I understand what's going on with this gut bacteria, and I think they live in neighborhoods. And I am going to show you right now, this is what I'm going to state, and then I'm going to show you some actual evidence to prove what I'm saying. Because I have the X-ray fluoroscope shots, and I have all kinds of stuff to prove what I'm saying. I'm not just guessing. Life depends on your digestion. Not a certain person can say it doesn't. It's all chemical processing. So what do you have to process? Enzymes break down molecules into tiny, tiny, tiny little bits. Otherwise, you cannot use them. Your blood cannot carry around big chunks of this and iron and copper and all these things that are in the foods you eat. The digestion has to have bacteria to break down the products using enzymes. The enzymes are made by the bacteria, and they break down the molecules into tiny, 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 tiny bits. That's what they do. They eat them and they poop them out. And we feed off the poop. Enzymes harvest metals and they create ions. Enzymes are catalysts, and they go and they break up molecules, and they selectively harvest things. Now, enzymes are created by the bacteria. That's what bacteria do. They create enzymes, and the enzymes are literally chemistry sets. Think that over for a second. Every enzyme is literally a set of molecules in a chemistry set. And it goes out and it breaks the molecules it's supposed to break. And it breaks them because a specific bacteria says, I need a specific molecule to harvest copper sulfate or whatever it is. Something. I'm just throwing these words out. It could be any kind of molecule that you need to make your body function. And that's what the enzymes do. They are created by bacteria. So we're always getting back to the bacteria. Digestion, enzymes, breakdowns, molecules, metals, enzymes. Bacteria creates mucus. It's another thing it does. Bacteria is everything. It creates mucus. It's a slimy barrier between everything on the inside part where the bloody stuff is and the tubes that everything runs through. And that's called a membrane. And you have membranes littered throughout your body. Everything has a membrane surrounding it. Nothing that enters you through your system, through your mouth, through your nose, all the way down through your body. It's not supposed to touch inside the bloody parts. There's little holes here and there that are made specifically to enter this and that. And if anything gets in there and messes those little spots up, then you get trouble. And if you create holes in your intestines and in your mucus and in these membranes, and the mucus is dead because the bacteria is dead, it's going to get invaded. It's as simple as that. And I'm going to show you, I could prove this I'm going to show you almost literal proof of what I'm talking about. Now, so the bacteria live in the membrane layers. Membranes are not just one layer. There's a zillion little layers, and they think there's like one layer. No. There's a ton of layers. The membrane, the bacteria embeds in it. It's called membrane-bound bacteria. So every membrane has a specific job. And the membrane-bound bacteria lives inside those layers, and I will show you that in a minute. So, once you kill those bacteria, you're done. They're not bound in there. They're not just living in there and they're always available. They're not creating some mucus. They're not breaking down the products. They're not creating enzymes. Now you have a whole set of problems to deal with. You can be invaded through your gut linings because the mucus isn't there to keep the slime to keep everything away. So now these toxic chemicals come down there and they start just eating away at things. I mean, that's what they do. And in addition to that, you have all kinds of stuff living in you right this instant would kill you if your bacteria was not protecting you. It's just a fact. And that's what happens. It gets attacked by these other bacteria that want to grow in there, but they don't create mucus maybe. Maybe they don't create anything. They don't create any enzymes. They don't do this or they don't do that. And then you get invaded and you get damaged and then you're in deep trouble. And that's what everybody is. I'm telling you right now, it's 100% gut related. And not only that, I looked up traumatic brain injuries. The guys get smashed in their head and their guts go bad because there is some kind of communication back and forth. That I haven't figured out yet. But there's bacterial communities that live just like in neighborhoods, just like you do in your neighborhood, and then somebody else lives in another neighborhood, and they all sort of do the same thing in that neighborhood. That's what mucosal neighborhoods are. So we need autopsy tissues to get autopsies. And take the tissues from these gut sections, all the different parts of your body where you get illness. And then we can discover what the colonies live there, what is normal to live there. We need a database. It's fundamental to this, absolutely fundamental. What bacteria are supposed to be in a body, in what quantities, in what places in the body. What is supposed to be in the blood. Every single metal, salt, mineral, everything. What's in the blood? And the blood will not have the products because the bacteria is not there, because the enzyme is not there. It all backs up to the bacteria. All right, now let me show you some other stuff. By the way, that's Roger at mudfossils.com. Get a hold of me. I'd love to get involved in this. I have some good stuff to offer, I think, I hope.